Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Laying Up podcast. Sarge here today. Randy is out on his summer vacation. Good for him. I'm running solo this week. It's major championship kind of week. It is your Evian preview. So we got a great run of show for you. In a little bit, I'm going to be joined by the wonderful Sophie Walker. She does a ton of commentary work. She's a former player on the Ladies European Tour. She's an instructor. She does it all. You've heard her on our content before, but we're going to get a rundown on everything going down on the Ladies European Tour. Lottie Woad winning the KPMG Women's Irish Open last week and get you set up for the Evian Championship. After that, I was joined a couple days after her win at the 2025 KPMG Women's PGA Championship by Minjee Lee. All right, she won. A couple days later, she was gracious enough to get on the call with me, and we got a great rundown. So I'm excited to get Minjee's interview out to the world. But before we get to Sophie, this episode, of course, is brought to you by our friends at Titleist, the number one ball in golf. And there's been a ton that's gone on the last week in golf. Let's just focus in on last weekend itself. At the John Deere, Brian Campbell took home his second PGA Tour title of the season with his Pro V1X golf ball. Over in Germany on the DP World Tour, Dan Brown won with his Pro V1 golf ball, while every single player in the top 10 in the event was playing a Titleist. On the Ladies European Tour, the world's number one ranked amateur won the KPMG Women's Irish Open by 6 shots with her Pro V1. Asian Tour, PGA Tour Americas, Korean, LPGA all had winners using the Pro V1 golf ball. And that was from a lighter schedule across the global tours. A week ago, Titleist golf ball players won 11 events across worldwide professional golf tours. There's a reason why 73% of the PGA Tour and LPGA Tour players trust the performance, quality, and consistency of Titleist golf balls on every shot they hit. And each one of them is totally dialed into their golf ball that fits the right flight, spin, and feel for their needs, whether that's the Pro V1, Pro V1X, or Pro V1X Left Dash. Head to Titleist.com to start the process to find out which Titleist golf ball is right for your game. And now, Sophie Walker. How are we doing today?
Hey, I'm very well, thank you. I didn't realize I was replacing Randy. I mean,
Well,
there's a
no
little
one
bit
can
of
replace it.
there's a little bit of height difference and should dare I say golf inability between us. But I hope he's having a lovely time, and we are here to talk about women's golf, and we're over in Europe, so that's why you've got me right.
Absolutely. So we're finally here to the heart of the European summer. I'm very, very excited about it. You were calling the golf last week as we saw an amazing rookie win on the LET. And I think it encapsulates everything that's good about the game of golf right now. Of course, people are probably familiar with Lottie Wood. She won the Augusta National Women's Amateur 2 years ago. She's the number one ranked amateur in the world. She's 2 points away on the leap, which we've talked about leap. Luckily, we have to have Jordan come in and usually explain to us what that actually system is. But she won her first professional event, 6-stroke victory over young hitter Madeline Sagstrom over in Ireland. But tell me, what do you think about Lottie? Is this one of those things that you saw coming? Were you waiting for this, or like where are we at? Because it's hard not to get excited about this.
It's really hard not to get excited, especially being English, Cody. You know, Solheim Cup, English,
Hmm.
yes. I mean, Lottie has been an outstanding golfer since, well, she really came on most people's radar when she won the Girls Amateur Championship at Carnoustie a few years ago. And since then, she's gone from strength to strength, part of the England golf setup, winning all types of team events with England golf. Then she headed out to Florida and I suppose put her name on a world stage with not just winning at Augusta, winning properly. You know, two back with five to play and just rolling off the birdies, hitting the proper golf shots. And I wonder if she will ever feel pressure or anxiety or stress like that again, other than possibly in position to win a major or maybe a women's AIG Open. Because right there, that was what impressed me so much about Lottie. And since then, she's just got like so much poise about her. She knows exactly what she wants. She wants to be a pro golfer. She knows how to go about it. She doesn't leave any stone unturned. All she needed, right, was opportunities. So she's from the south of England, Farnham Golf Club. What a great setup. Her dad is the junior organizer, Cody. They have
Hmm,
150 juniors down there. It's off the charts. So
really?
Nick has some help now, but this is how it all started for Lottie. And given now she's got the facilities over in Florida, she can have a bit of financial backing. She can go get the right clubs, take her coaches out to these events, take decent caddies, etc., etc. Because she has all the tools. I mean, there is no weakness to her game. Her wedge play, oh my goodness. I mean, we go on about these Pro V1s, but my ball doesn't do that. It's within like 2 yards all the time. So yeah, and she's not phased. So in England, there's a football team called Leeds United. And if you support Leeds United, you're from the north most of the time, and you say it how it is, you're straight talking. They yo-yo from Premier League to Championship, and nothing phases you. And she's a Leeds United fan, and it's like, yeah, you just know she is. She's great, and I can't speak highly enough about her. And I probably think I get more excited than she does because, hey, it's what she should do.
She is very steady, and not only in like her demeanor and everything, but she's just always kind of just riding right there, very consistent. I didn't realize that. So she comes from a golfing background. Her dad got her into the game, and then if you want to talk a little bit about the program, the amateur program that you guys have set up in England, because I think for a long time, I saw a tweet earlier today. Everybody's all excited getting ready for the Open, both men's and the AIG Women's Open. But there was a mention of it's been 33 years since there's been a male Englishman win the Open Championship. And I know that takes a lot of work, and a lot of people have looked into English golf and England golf and have always kind of been like, where are the players at? And I think we're starting to see it not only probably first, the women's side is coming up a little bit more now, not so much not trying to knock the men or the boys or anything else like that. But talk to us about this program because I know that's where you came from as well.
It is, and it's something that as a program they've really started to pride themselves in. It. I know this sounds winning, like a performance that they're looking long term. So when we pick teams, we're looking real long term on it. There's the head of the the women's at the moment is, well, there's Nigel Edwards, but in terms of the coaching, there's a guy called Steve Robinson. Robbo is what we call him. He's a Yorkshireman too, and he's the stats coach for Matt Fitzpatrick,
Okay.
and he's been in charge now or overseeing it for at least a decade. So he started with the Bronte laws and he's brought all them through, and I think that consistency really helps. And then when they're looking for coaches, be it regional or the junior coaches, they have to fit into a certain ethos, which is great. And then when the kids, it used to be, Cody, if you went out to college in America, you were left. It was like, right, off you go then. We don't want anything to do with you. Now it's like, no, this is where we want you to be. Because actually, financially, it works out better for England if
Yeah, I'm
for more
sure.
than half of the year, these kids are out in warm weather. So now most of them stick to the East Coast, but we encourage them to go out to America now to enjoy the facilities, the practice, the great weather, and the tournaments. Because when I was young, golf didn't really start till probably the Helen Home, which is the Scottish amateur, which is spring, and it would go through to September and then it would stop. Now you have that, but then you go to school in America. And what they do is they send their coaches out to America. So in the off weeks, for instance, Thanksgiving, when you guys are all tucking into your roast dinners or turkey or whatever it is,
Yes.
our groups of kids, they go to a quiet golf course and they train together.
Golf camps.
Yeah,
I think
golf
we're
camps.
very familiar with this. I think a lot of popularity of it, or maybe more understanding, has come from the Swedish side and the Swedish
Yeah.
development team and everything the last couple of years. But
And we need to be better at carrying on through a professional level, which you will slowly start seeing. I know Lottie isn't a professional, but now she can be financially backed. If you look, she's got England Golf logos on her. She's still representing. And I found when I turned pro that there was a big gap. You really enjoyed representing your country. Then you left and was left to yourself. And there's going to be a bit better bridging gap. It still needs to be much improved. The Australians, when they turn pro, they have a house in America and a house in England. The Swiss are doing really well. Obviously, you mentioned Sweden, Denmark are great. And I believe the Americans are now starting with this formula. They've got Tiffany Joe in
Yep.
charge. But it's taking the opportunities. You don't need money to be great at golf. You need opportunities and places to play. And that's what England Golf are striving to do.
Yeah, that's very well put. You're spot on as
It
usual.
helps when you have a Lottie.
It
It really
does.
does help
It
because she
definitely.
works so hard. She is the hardest worker. She's the best golfer, but she's the hardest worker. She's very good in a team environment. You know, she's not individual in there. She doesn't talk too much about golf when she's around all the others. She's easy to be around. And I was asking her coach, Luke Bone, what's her biggest weakness, and he said the fact that she works too hard. Sometimes we have to pull her off and be like, rest up.
Oh, we've heard that before too from some of these stud young amateurs. But you're right. I mean, she seems to have really no holes in her game. It appears that she's ready for the big moment. She's put herself, she's played in a handful of majors already. I know she's in the field this week, of course, at the Evian. It'll be her third major that she's played in this year so far. So missed a cut at the Chevron, but at the US Open, US Women's Open at Erin Hills, T31 there, got a elite point. That's what mattered. She needed to get that point. She would have got another one, I think, for a top 20 finish. But really, I think we'll see how she fares this week at Evian because she missed a cut there last year, but something that's familiar. And I think that's, we get everybody gets excited about these rookies, and we don't realize that every single place that they go, this is the first time they're ever there. And it's not only the first time they're looking at these golf courses, this is the first time they're playing in a major championship. And each major is so different in what is expected and not expected from the players. So you can't put crazy weight on that. But I'm really excited for her to get to Royal Protocol in a couple weeks because she was in it last year. I mean, she
She
top.
holed the shot on
I
18,
I
remember?
know. I know. It was crazy. I think she finished 10th or T10 or something like that, but she was there the whole time.
But that is a golf course that she knows well because we
hmm
have the scent rule there, which is played on the old course. So Lottie would have played the old course multiple times.
So how you're telling me that she's not going to fare very well in Wales? I
No,
don't.
no, 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 it should be fine. I'm just saying that, like, going back to
There is
what
history,
your
yes.
example is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, back to the KPMG women's in Ireland real quick. Carton House, I think it's one of those courses that we naturally, as American viewers, we say this all the time about the Scottish Open on both men's and women's sides as well. We naturally think that they have to be at like these great links venues, and that's not really the case. It's not the best representation of the entire country's golf. We definitely in the United States don't just play golf courses that are up and down the coast. We play courses all over the place. But what is it about it? Because it seems to have like a pretty good run now of good champions and exciting finishes.
What KPMG have done is brilliant, and we have to thank Leona Maguire solely, I would say, for getting the Women's Irish Open back on the map. The schedule fits around her. This year, if you look at the players that came, Madeline Sagstrom, Anna
hmm
Nordquist, Charlie Hull, they're mates. Yeah, so Leona's probably given them a quick phone call, said, look, it's the week before Evian, can you come on down? And it's the main reason why I think we had 16 Irish players in that event because we've got a 30-year-old Leona Maguire that they've watched their entire life and want to be. That's brilliant. But also where it is, so it's just outside Dublin, 20 minutes outside Dublin. Very easy to get to. That's why you can get all the big crowds. And even with a bit of squally weather, like the Irish come out in force,
Yeah, they were
especially
there.
to support their own as well. And as much as it'd be great to have it on the coast means that we wouldn't get those type of crowds. This golf course, great golf course. They actually held the World Amateur Championship there a few years ago, where your American team won. Lilia Vu, Jennifer Kupcho, they
Yep.
were part of that team. And it's got two golf courses. It's got an Amira course and a Montgomery course. But the Amira course is very pretty. It looks great on television, and the house, like this Carlton house, it's so old. I mean, like 1750 is one of the buildings on the golf course. So it's got all that lovely Irish history as well. And yeah, so for me, yes, would we like it on a links golf course? Yeah, cool. But for the actual event, the fact that the hotel's on property, the facilities are insane, like so good. And the people come out and watch the course condition. It got voted the best tournament of the year last year on the LET and the best condition golf course. No
Really?
one moans about setup. There's nothing to moan about really. Which the last few weeks there's been stuff to moan about, right? So this is good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, you're right with the sponsors. I don't even want to. Well, sponsors exemptions is one thing because there's a ton of young Irish amateurs that played in the event. You're right, but you saw big name players, not just you mentioned some Europeans, but I think this is where I'm always talking about, and I'm very excited about the new LPGA commissioner, Craig Kessler, coming on board. We're a week away from that now. I know there's changes that are going on right now on the LET side, but this is an event and it's very, very interesting of where it's at. Like this tournament should be a co-sanctioned event, just like the Scottish is a co-sanctioned event. Just like Evian, I understand it was a major, but even going back further than that, like there should be a European summer to the women's professional golf calendar. And you shouldn't have to pick and choose. And fans deserve and have the right, I think, to be, a great LET tournament in Ireland. But why can't we elevate the Irish Open to be everyone there? To get Nelly there, to get everybody. And I'm not saying that Charlie and Georgia and Madeline who came over, this is the first time that she's played at the event, and I'm sure it wasn't, helped a lot by Leona, but also the fact that Shane has been her caddy forever and is from there and wanted to go home and work in front of his family and everything else like that. They come away with solo second finish. I just wish that there is a way for both of them to come together to make what is best for the schedule as a whole.
I agree, but if that happens, it does have to be a co-sanctioned. It can't be, for instance, LPGA taking the event, but it also can't be the LPGA saying, "Yeah, we'll come," but there won't be the investment in the television. LET event with a sprinkle on top because it's got
Right.
LPGA players. It really does have to come together. And maybe, obviously, you said about commissioners coming and going. It's hard to get a relationship, isn't it, when the people aren't in charge long enough or they meet up enough. But with the Scottish Open, like Nelly's coming, that's so cool. But I'd love the TV production to be put more money into the TV production and have it. I mean, it's still a really good event, the Scottish, but it could be elevated even more with more prize money, etc. And obviously, the Irish Open would be great. I'd love an English Open. I feel quite
Yes.
embarrassed, very embarrassed that there isn't an English event, an Open on the Ladies European Tour. There is an event, obviously, in north of London at Centurion Club, which is the PIF Global Series,
Yeah.
but there isn't an English Open, so that would be great.
Well, even if you look at the schedule, I'm pretty sure that the the Centurion event this year falls on an off week for the LPGA tour.
Yeah,
And
they
I'm
do
gonna
them
be
on off weeks most of the time. Yeah.
I'm interested in your perspective of it because you follow the LET so much closer than we do. But it seems like people that have gone over and played in some of the Aramco events, bigger names from the LPGA tour side, they haven't had like the consistency of them going and continuously playing in them. And I think that would help bolster the team dynamic that they tried to go with. And I understand that they've restructured how those events are going anyway, but it's very interesting because the purses are there for sure. It just seems that, people are continuing to pick and choose when they want to play instead of going to an event where they know they're going to get the most amount of money. Even, it's not a conflicting event. So why wouldn't they go?
There's pros and cons for not having a conflicting event, because that means that the people that you sponsor that are on the LPGA, like a Carlotta Zagander or Emily Pedersen, they can come back and play them as a sponsor's requirement. But also, it is a week off. So to ask if we've got one in China, for instance, or if we've got one in, I don't know, where else are we? England, to get someone to fly over on their week off, they don't want to. Their schedule is very much LPGA focused, because that's where they earn most of their money, and that's their day job. For them to come over for the week, it kind of disrupts that. Also, they did use, I'm not sure, I don't know how much they pay anymore, because I know at the start they did pay quite a lot of money to get people over for them. And I don't know where that money is now. I don't know if it's less, I don't know if it's the same, but there's maybe not as an encouragement to do so. But because the actual events, I can tell you now, you speak to any of the LPGA players that come over, the food, courtesy cars, the
Yeah, they
way they
love
are
it.
looked after is better than
Yep.
your average LPGA event.
Yeah,
And the
for
golf
sure.
courses are outstanding.
Well, yeah. I mean,
But there's a pro-am format to it, and the rumours got round that it's slow. Okay, because it's four
oh, because of the
balls.
amateurs?
Well, it was the amateurs,
Yeah.
so yeah, and then that it's slow because people are playing. It's four balls. But the Madeline Sagstrom was saying how quick she thought the LET was this week, so she noticed a difference in pace of play. But when it comes to four people and everyone's got a hole out, what do you do?
Well, yeah, I'm sure. The last tournament that Madeline plagued in also took her about 6.5 hours to get around a very difficult, Fields Ranch East in
Yeah,
Frisco
true.
for the
But
for the
easy.
KPMG Women's PGA. So it's not hard to compare the two. That's for sure. A little bit later in this episode, we're actually going to have Minjee Lee on. Where I did an interview with her a couple days after she won that major championship. But I would like to turn to France. Sophie, you've heard us talk about it before. You've talked to us about it at length. The Evian Championship, we're kind of confused still about the whole deal. We understand it's a major championship. We understand why Mike Wan made the decision to grant them a major championship, venue and at the time purse and everything because of where the LPGA tour was actually at in 2011, 2012. But now it seems it's hard. I don't want to walk myself into a hole here because I know the players actually absolutely love it. They're very well taken care of. Everybody likes the food, they like the venue. I think it's one of those things from a fan's perspective. It's just something is missing, and I don't know quite what it is, but I've never been there. So please, if you could enlighten us, what are we missing here?
I don't know what we're missing. Maybe that, I mean, the fact it's called Evian Resort Club, that spin doesn't help, does it? Because then it suggests it's not a championship golf course, and they have spent a lot of money on making it better, but it still isn't, a golf course which would sit in the top 100 in the world, for instance. So there's that. I used to think I didn't like the fact that it used to be an invitational, and it was something else, and then it became a major, and I was like, oh well, no, a major should start from what it was. But then if you look back at the history, the British Open for the women didn't used to be a major.
True.
I think since Chevron has moved, I'm now thinking my thoughts change on Evian, because there's a consistency to Evian which none of the other majors have, because it goes back to the same venue. There is a good 30-year history on it now. You get good winners, you get good finishes, and the fact it's in Europe I really like, but it comes down to five majors, doesn't it? And is it a Grand Slam if it's four majors? If it's is it a Grand Slam if it's five? But Lydia Ko said that she's stating that it's five majors now, and we're coming to a point where there's people. The Evian used to be full of people that knew what it was, and I don't think there is anymore. There can't be more than a handful of people that used to know what Evian was. So the likes of Ayaka Foodaway, Brooke Henderson, the most recent winners as such, they can't remember what it used to be. So now it's evolving, but it's not run by a federation either. That's what makes it quite interesting. There's no
Hmm.
PGA of America, RNA. In that sense, it's quite a privately run event, isn't it?
So is it managed by one of the big agencies? Because
Yeah, I think it's IMG. I would assume
okay.
so. Yeah, yeah.
All right, well, that makes sense. You talked about so this is the 31st anniversary of it. It's the 30th playing. They didn't play it during COVID. It was the Evian Masters from 1994 to 2012. In 2012, that's when it became a co-sanctioned event with the LPGA Tour and LET, excuse me, and got its major status. This is the 12th edition of it being a major championship. Ayaka Foodaway is the defending champion. She won last year, drained a clutch putt. She made every putt coming down the back nine. Of course, our listeners will remember that because we were heartbroken watching LC get to the 18th hole. And then LC and John literally standing on the 18th green when Ayaka made that putt, just literally just started smiling and laughing because, of course, she made that putt. But it turned out very, very well for both of them and LC going on and getting, having 2 wins the rest of the year and an incredible Solheim Cup. I say it has. I've learned more about this golf course watching it as the years go on. It is such an exciting final 9. That's what I don't quite get. It's tons of risk reward. It's about shot placement, where you need to be at. They put pins in very difficult positions that you usually do not see at any event, let alone, major championship on the LPGA Tour calendar. I just don't know what it is. Outside, it seems to be like the hodgepodge of like more and more branding put on top of it every single year. But I don't know. I agree with you. It very much is a major. It's it's also you talked about the chevron move. I honestly think that I kind of enjoy Evian and the Evian's golf course more than I like the course in Texas where they're hosting the chevron at now. So it's hard to talk about that. And they continue to increase the purse, They're not quite up there to the high US Women's Open, but year over year over year, you've had purse increases and they continue to invest not only in the course, not only into the players, but everything else going on around it, which is very difficult for me to sit here and say, well, why do I not like it then? Because they seem to be doing everything right.
Yeah, but also you think when you did start all this podcasting, it was when Evian was having a bad time. It got moved to September. It got rained out. It kind of didn't get treated like a major when it got rained out because it should have been finished on a Monday and it
Right.
wasn't. Then there was and I don't take this the wrong way, but Lexi Thompson would have been one of the only women golfers that you'd have known much about, and she was the one that was saying how she didn't like it. So
She
if
doesn't even
somebody
play it
like
now.
no, she won't even play this one. Considering she plays everything else, she won't play this one. But she wouldn't have done even if she was playing a full schedule. There's definitely that in it. I think the timing of when it all started. You do have to go to Evian. I think it's a place that you need to go to appreciate why the players like it. And now you've got to say, just think of it, it's like, you always want an Asian major. Like,
Yes.
I should be an Asian. So there'll be stuff like happens in Asia that you'll be like, oh, that's weird. That wouldn't happen in America. And it's the same at Evian. Like the tea times are a bit later, and there's a champagne tent, like Veuve Clicquot on tap. That
It's
it's
very
just
French.
yes, and I suppose you have to get into that mindset of it. In terms of the golf course, it's an incredibly European golf course. Something that I never liked playing it. I don't like hitting off side slopes because I grew up by the coast. It's tree lined. There's some quirky golf holes to say the least, but that's very European. And yeah, I just think we need to start. We've had a tough run of women's majors, and Evian, you know what you're going to get. You know that, like you said, the pins are going to be in good spots. It's all about approach play. There's a consistency to it, and actually, it's a very good woman's golf course setup.
Well, there you go. I'm excited. Now I please everybody tune in and
As long
watch
as
what
it
you
doesn't
can.
rain.
I
If it
know. Hopefully
rains,
it
you
doesn't
can't see
rain.
the lake.
Everybody tune in. That'll be all week long. We're excited and we'll talk about the results on Sunday's podcast. Lottie Woad, we talked about it. She's in the field. Of course, Nelly, Lydia, Celine Boudier, who I know does so much for golf in France. She's an Evian, Evian sponsors her. She carries that flag everywhere she goes so well. Minjee, Maya, and then Ayaka is the defending champion. I'm really excited because I do think that we're at a great spot in the calendar of this, and hopefully something is cemented on this European swing that we're trying to stamp into the ground. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, LET, I sent you a message probably like a month ago, something like that, and was like, wow, Mimi Rhodes is really good. And is a name that, we heard a couple years ago when she was in college and everything, kind of went away for a little bit. She's won multiple times this year on the Ladies European Tour. She played in a couple majors, probably not the best results that she wanted, but talk to us a little bit about Mimi.
Well, Mimi was part of the Curtis Cup team, the Victoria's Curtis Cup team at Sunningdale. And she went to Wake Forest, which I'm sure you'll be able to wax lyrical about. It's a very successful college over in America. And she turned pro. She came over to the Ladies European Tour. And part of our England golf system, when she was as an amateur, I kind of used to look at her and think, oh, you need to turn pro. She felt,
Really?
yes, because
Ahead of her
when
times.
when you are an amateur, you can come across as cocky, but actually, if you turn pro, you come across as confident. And they're the same
Hmm.
person, and it's the same mentality. She has that little aura about her where there's a good self belief there, and I hope that never gets knocked out of her. And if she was a man at some point, they'd probably be sorry, not a man at some point. If she was a man, they'd be like, "Cool, that's great. Go on, you think you're really good." But as a woman, you're like, "Whoa, don't be too." I like her positiveness about her game. I like the way that when we say you've won 3 times as a rookie, her next question is, what's the record? And she's like, I know Chiara Tambolini's won 4. I know Caroline Headwell's won 4. So is it 5? She's ready to ask those questions. She's ready to change her goals because a lot of people say, well, I come on tour and it's like, keep my tour card. Then I keep my tour card. Then I win. What? She's ready to go, okay, well, my next goal is this and my next goal is that. She is speaks Spanish because she lives down in Spain. So she lives in Sotogrande with her parents and her sister Patience. She goes to ASU, Arizona State University.
Hmm.
Also played Curtis Cup, but she's still an amateur. And went to boarding school in England, went to Millfield Boarding School, which is a sports school over here, which I think that is maybe why she's quite confident and quite self-assured and knows how to look after herself because she was there alone with her sister. I like her. I like her a lot. Got a little twinkle in her eye and swings it good, hits it well. Yeah. So three
Is
times.
this
She won in like I would say the thing is for her now, it's like, right, you've won in like different continents, cool. Like
right?
what this is a really big summer for European golfers. Summer is in general, like not this summer what happens now? Like don't go to these events and be like, oh, Nelly Corder, like Lydia Ko, like please go to them and be like, no, you earned my spot here and I'm gonna turn up. I think she admitted to be a little bit in awe at KPMG, but now that's gone. Let's
Good,
knuckle down. Yeah.
good, and used to competing with them at the highest level. Maybe not the likes of Nelly, but everyone else. I mean, that she's played against and with in college the last couple of years. They're all now out there on the LPGA tour, and she will be too probably. So my question is, Mimi is having an incredible year, and she will more than likely come over and play the LPGA tour. And we're stuck in this conundrum again of is that good for the ladies European tour? And where there has to be like a netting out portion of it because we talked about it when we were talking about the KPMG Irish of how great it was that Leona got the Madeleines and Charlie and Georgia probably play more LET events than anyone else. But more people going back and playing LET events. And how do you do that?
If you start on the LET, you want to come back, Cody. Gino Titicum loves coming back. She calls it home. If you experienced a year or two out here, you look to come back. Chiara Tambellini played. Did she play US Open and flew back
Hmm.
to play Tenerife?
Yes.
Like we were like, why are you here? She goes, I love it. Love coming back. So there's that hold, and it's still back home to Europe, no matter what country they're in. All right, they might struggle to go and play the Asian ones or the Australian ones, but if it's back on European soil, it's okay. The likes Sylvester Henseleit will always come back and do Germany. So ideally, we will get them for their home event. Same with the Spanish. Just got to make sure the schedules work out. And also, you have to play in 6 LET events to be per year to get Solheim Cup. So you do have to come back and support it. I wish that they didn't go too early. Like
Yeah.
the way that they're developing so quickly at the minute, we only get them for a year, and the LPGA kind of kicks them a bit, and their confidence goes quite quickly. And we've seen that from Pauline Roussin-Bouchard, who actually had a great result at the last major, and Chiara Tambellini was edging that way, had another good result. But somebody like Lexi Fursterlin has really struggled recently. I know she's had injuries, but you just wonder, like, oh, do they go too quick? But I totally understand why they do. But I don't worry about them coming back because they don't do it for the money coming back, which doesn't happen too much in golf, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right. And somebody, I mean, we haven't brought her up yet, but you could throw Maya probably in that bucket as well. We know the Lynn came out on the LAT, had immediate success. Maya obviously won a couple times as well, and then came over and was, you know, back in the States, and she's familiar with being in the States from college, but I think had such immense pressure that she was plus putting on herself, and then success early at, got a win that got her card, but also early success at the Solheim Cup in Spain. Followed that up last year at the Solheim Cup in Virginia. And the questions of hey, when are you going to win again? What is going on here? Made a caddy change, and then you see kind of struggled the beginning of this year, and then obviously won her first major championship at the US Women's Open. So it's interesting to see the highs and lows and roller coaster of it, because you're right, there is such a family dynamic that is created on the ladies European tour that's amazing. And then they come over to the LPGA side, and it's truly like, you're by yourself. And yeah, you might have your same little physio small group that you go around, you might work out with, but then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to either go to Dallas or I'm going somewhere in Florida, and I now have to figure out where I'm practicing and playing and just living my life. They spend so much time by themselves. There's hardly any community.
It's just different, isn't it? And it's the size of America that makes it so hard, I suppose, for the players. And the standard is insane. Look, you could make a double bogey on the LET and you're not thinking I'm going to miss the cut. Well, on the LPGA, you're done. Like it's hard work. But yeah, like, it's just the way it is. Europe's always been this way. America's always been that way, and being different's good. I just hope that there will always be that want to come back. I mean, you just have to look at Anna Nordquist, like how proud she is of being the Solheim Cup captain. We were interviewing her last week, and it's it, it's all she knows. It's all she's ever wanted to do. As long as we can keep the Solheim Cup being the highlight of these players' golfing careers, then it'll be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And man, I know we got another year and a half almost to go. Well, it's almost a year now, but I'm so excited to go. The Solheim Cup's been such a great event for us to go to and see everybody so excited. And I know next year back in Europe, it's going to be amazing. And I'm pumped because they have two feisty captains. And the way that it's shaping out, teams, there's going to be a consistency on both teams, but you have such strong young players who are hungry, who are winning early. that have a legitimate shot to be on these teams. So it's going to be a little bit of a shakeup. Now, Sophie, you are a very, very busy woman. You're not only playing a ton of golf, you're teaching people how to play golf. You're calling golf all over the place. I have no clue how you manage your schedule at all, but I do know as an American, I get so excited because yes, you get a call, do a radio for majors and everything else like that. But when you're calling women's golf on TV, we get to watch that usually via
Oh
NBC
yeah.
Sports app or anything else like that. So, how do you balance all this stuff? How I truly don't understand it.
I have very understanding students that are okay with seeing me once a month, and I try and teach them in a way that they're structured to be able to look after themselves. And I also do online coaching, which helps. The commentary does take priority, and I actually don't take my golf clubs away with me when I travel. So
Really?
there are times where I could not play golf for 3 weeks, maybe. When I'm in Britain, I take them
Yeah.
out. But yeah, when I'm on tour, they kind of stay. So that's why I'm excited to. I'm looking at them now. My golf clubs can come on. I love it. I mean, commentating on golf is. God, for me, I'd be doing it anyway. It's like the best thing. I'd be getting excited over people hitting great golf shots, and yeah, I mean, I'm gutted to not be at Evian. I'd love to be there. I'd quite happily work 5 weeks in a row, but it is good to have some time off and to refresh. And I'll be back out next week for the Men's Open Championship. I do think it helps me that I do different roles all the time. So I do radio sometimes, I do TV, I do LPGA, LET, a couple of men's events. I'll do on course commentary or I'll do in the box. I tell you what was so much fun the other day. I did the women's amateur up at Nairn, and I met
Oh,
all of the new generation, and it was just lovely to see them all. Like Paula Martin, she beat another Paula in the quarterfinals, and she caddied for her. I was like, oh, that's so great. And then like some of your American girls were lovely to be around, and you think, wow, well, hopefully I'll get to see them come through in the next 5 years' time. I'll be thinking, well, I was at Nairn where, you know, Hannah tried her first ever iron brew.
right, right.
Yeah, so
No,
it's
it
like,
it is a great spot to see. You see so many players develop, but you're also creating relationships and things. So when you see them, they're all of a sudden, if you're standing, next to the 18th green at the AIG Women's Open, they look over, they go, "Oh yeah, that's just Sophia." Of course, I'm going to go answer Sophie's question now.
well, I mean, yeah, maybe I don't think they see me yet as a journalist. I don't think they. I think on the LET they still see me a bit more as a peer, maybe. And then yeah, they try. What I want them to do is trust me. If there's something that they tell me, and if we're out for dinner or we're not at a golf course and they tell me, then it won't go on television. And also, I always say to them, like before they go out, is there anything you want me to plug? Because I'm there to sell them. So it's, oh yeah, I've got a new clothes sponsor, or I've got a new coach, or so like grandma's watching. It's just those type of things that then when they watch it back, they appreciate it. And also just calling shots, you gotta call them. You gotta say it how it is. And if it's a bad shot, it's a bad shot. But you've got to set the shot up. What are they trying to do? And the more I'm around them by going to these events, the more that I know their games. Like the Lydia Ko shot that we've talked about before at
Yep.
the AIG Women's Open. 75 yards. It's the one. It's like, well, this is going in. Yeah.
Yeah, you called it early. You actually called it earlier in the week too. You walked with. I can't remember if it was second round, first round or second round. I said, "Hey, how was your group today?" It was good. Oh man, and Lydia, if she just makes a putt, it is her
Yeah.
week. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Really? I'm not seeing that. She hasn't really been, hitting the ball very well this summer. She's coming off, of course, the Olympics, but she just kind of seems a little off so far this week." And you called it dead on,
Well,
even
I
going into
mean,
Sunday. You knew it.
it's, well, I don't know, well, maybe not into Sunday. I think I got lucky with that. But just, being around them, like, they, they don't get the coverage that I don't think they get the coverage they deserve. So I would like to do everything possible to shine the light on their capabilities. And what's been great is a lot of them, if you just drop them Instagram messages and they'll reply, and the coaches are all very good. That nobody doesn't have time for you because they appreciate that you are trying to show them in their best light. So I have to
Absolutely.
give the players a lot of credit. They're very good as well.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Well, Sophie, thank you so much for joining us today. For people that are interested, it's morning golf if you want to check out the Evian Championship. It starts at 4 a.m. here on Golf Channel, goes all the way until 11 a.m. That'll be Thursday, Friday. Saturday coverage is going to be, this is crazy, 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. and Sunday as well, 4 a.m. to 10 a.m., both on Golf Channel. So tune in to the Evian Championship. We will be here and talk all about it on Sunday's recap show. And coming up next, I got an interview with the 2025 KPMG Women's PGA Championship champion, Minjee Lee. Sophie, thank you as always.
Thank you. That was the best round of the year by Minjee Lee.
That was
So good.
ridiculous, ridiculous. Before we get to Minjee Lee, I need a quick word from our friends at Omni Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel of No Laying Up. Summer is here, so it's the perfect excuse to book that long overdue golf trip. Whether you're planning a family escape or rounding up your crew for a big weekend, Omni has 13 golf destinations from coast to coast that are ready to host you. From the recently renovated Oak Marsh course at Omni a Million Island in Florida to mountain views and timeless layouts of the Omni Homestead in Hot Springs, Virginia, there's no shortage of summer golf destinations to explore. And while you're there, why not get competitive? The Omni Generation Cup is back for season 2, with the first qualifier of the season happening in a couple days, July 12th at Omni Bedford Springs. Grab your family and tee it up for a day of fun and competition to solidify your spot in the 2026 National Championship. Your summer is calling. Head to omnihotels.com/golf and play the possibilities. Now, the 2025 KPMG Women's PGA Champion at Omni Fields Ranch East, Minjee Lee. Three-time major champion now. Congratulations, Minjee. How does it feel to get number 3 under your belt?
Oh, pretty darn good. Um, I felt like maybe I wouldn't get to this position again, for the couple years I've been struggling, but honestly, pretty amazing. I feel really, really happy, really, really grateful that I can be in this position, and yeah, it's extra nice to have that massive trophy in my hands.
A very long week. Of course, we're talking about this year, 2025 KPMG Women's PGA Championship at, I would say, a home game, but I don't know if it's really a home game. North Dallas. Everybody tries to loop everything in together, but a new venue for sure. A long, hot week, and you ended up with a three-stroke victory to win your third major championship. When did it finally sink in? I think this is the same thing I asked Maya too after she won the women's open. I was like, obviously there's a high and media and everything afterwards, and then you go home and settle in, and when does the moment finally hit you?
Mhm. I think for me, it was like 2 days after, because like, the day after, you're still kind of, like, on that high, you're like, "Oh my god, okay, I won." But then the day after, I was like, "I really deserve this one." Like, I know I deserve it, but, like, you really think, like, what I did good, you kinda reflect back, and, I was like, "This one I really, really deserved," just with all the things that I went through, and just it was just a hard week, the wind, it was hot, the course was tough, just everything. It just felt like a grind of a week.
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking about the struggle. I think what jumps out to most of people is probably the change that you made this year with the putter.
Mhm.
Is that something that, you really think back on and is like, that change is probably what got you to this point now?
Yeah, 100%. Definitely the putting was the biggest thing I struggled with, those, past year and a half. The broomstick just has given me a lot of freedom, just with not having that much control. I think I just kind of had to let go of, the idea of a conventional grip, cross-handed grip. Like I've, pretty much won with a lot of different grips over my time on tour. So I kind of took it as another adventure, just a different adventure. So I could put a positive spin on it. Um, yeah, and
Was it,
this
like,
is
kinda taboo thinking about it?
not taboo, but it was just like, oh, like I was like, it's a broomstick.
Right.
And now I won with a broomstick. And beginning of the year, I was like, oh, I don't even know if I will actually use it. So it's just such a just you just kind of think about it and you're like, wow, like it feels like it's not been that long, but it has been what 6 7 months now of using it. So
Yeah.
thinking about it is strange, like right now.
No, I think the one thing about it is that you obviously have a lot of freedom now in your putting stroke. It's something that
Hmm.
you're very confident in. With your previous, we talk about going through the struggles of putting.
Hmm.
Was it more like speed? Was it, aim, keeping it on line, combination of everything? Kinda what does the long putter give you that you didn't have
Mm,
before?
I think just the accuracy for the shorter putts, sorry, not putters, shorter putts, probably say inside 6 feet. There's a lot of just a bit more calmness, I think, for me anyway. I just literally line up the ball where I want it to, hit on my path, and then I just try and hit it on that pretty much with a straight back, straightforward putting stroke. So, and having a broomstick, especially the Callaway square to square, it promotes that so much that it's really easy to, try and like replicate each time. So I think that's really just the biggest difference, just my short putting
Yeah, I completely agree with the square to square and being able to get the ball starting on the line and the
online. Yeah.
confidence once you see it like, "Oh, wow, this
Yeah.
is incredible here. I was staying online."
Hmm.
That's not easy to do on a, major championship golf course like Fields Ranch East that does have a lot of break, their major
Yeah.
championship pin positions a lot
Hmm.
different than week on, week out on the LPGA tour. So I guess, new gives you confidence, but this is something that you've been building on this year. It's not
Yeah.
just like you came out of nowhere at the end of June. You've had a really good season.
Hmm. I feel like week in, week out, every week I get a little more comfortable, especially those first few weeks. I had a couple good finishes, and I think at TOC I had like 8 under or something on the last round. So that really just kind of gave me a little more validation to like to use the putter, and obviously, the realization that I could play well with it and putt well with it. So I think after that week, I just kind of accepted the fact that this is probably what I was going to use going forward. So every week, I've just been trying to get that 1% better and just gain the trust and the confidence to you know play under pressure with it. Really.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you
Mm,
mentioned starting out the year at Hilton, but really, I think of back to like Blue Bay, and I remember
yeah.
talking about Blue Bay. I'm like, well,
Hmm.
you know, Minji didn't lose Blue Blade by any means. Like Rio went and won it out
Oh
of
yeah.
nowhere. It was
Yeah.
crazy, but I remember that week being like, "Man, you putted so good." And it was still very much like he hadn't really talked much about it yet. And I was
Yeah.
like, "This is going to be a game changer."
Yeah, it was pretty new still then, so I didn't really have too much to say about it because like really I only like my coach and I we were like we only really know the basics, just the fundamentals of what the putter should do. By no means we're experts, so we were just kind of mucking around a little bit with like the grip and just like what kind of weight that I was comfortable with and just the different types of heads that work with the broomstick, and ended up with the number 7 and the weight that I'm on now. But just we it was really new to us too, so I didn't really have any comments on it until I still don't have any comments on it, but I just, I know the fundamentals now. Like I know what kind of stroke I need to put on it to have a pure roll and to hit my targets. So, I mean, I keep it really simple, and I think that's exactly the way putting should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, people that aren't looking for endorsements out there, everybody wants to improve their own game, but the fact that already this year we have you and then really Yalimi, who's in this kind of a similar boat that you are in, that found and went to the long putter and have
Mhm,
had incredible success with it. It's really cool how technology now has just kind of created a different aspect of putting and freed people up,
mhm,
You talked about the struggles, and I'll say, for you probably, but from an outsider's perspective, like you were always there. I'm sure it was very frustrating to go through the lows that you did. But, put yourself in tons of, in good spots last year.
mhm.
And then are you like a goals oriented person? Did you start out this season kind of with a different perspective, different outlook on it?
Mm, I had a bit of a perspective change, but not like
Hmm.
only because I was just sitting down with my coach and I was like, we probably only have like 3 or 4 full years, or three, 4 or 5, I'd say, full years, that I'll be on tour. So let's really give it 100% and see where this year and these next few years could take me. So I just kind of accepted the fact that I'm not going to be on tour forever. I'm not getting any younger. So I was like, let's just, you know, really be intentional with the things that I'm doing. And so that's pretty much, I mean, I'm always intentional about everything, but just a little bit more. And that's pretty much what I have been doing since the beginning of the year. So,
What made
yeah.
you get there? I mean, you're
Hmm.
very young still. You can play golf as long as you can. What was this divine moment that made you realize, like, wait a second, the end
It
is
was,
near?
it wasn't divine, I guess, but I think it was just like I want to perform at my peak and I want to be in, like, physically in really peak condition to, you know, to play in these majors. The younger generation is, so much fit, like, is really fit, they're fierce, they're aggressive, and they have no fear. They just come out winning. So I just was like, I just want to be in the best shape that I could be, in terms of golf, in terms of physically, just mentally. I just want to be sound, playing these majors. And that's probably going to be for the next 3 or 4 years. So that's pretty much what I was thinking, when I was thinking I have 3 or 4 years. Not that I'm like, fading, but just, yeah, I just was like, the tour is only getting younger, and I just want to be, the best that I could be in those years, and it's pretty much doing everything that I can to be, I guess.
Yeah, it's incredible, and I know that your team, your greater team, not just you, not just your caddy. There's a lot of other people from, trainers, coaches that go into this.
Hmm.
Was that a Was that a shift, that they were welcoming from, coming from you, or is that something that they kinda help push you on?
I didn't, I mean, obviously I didn't really like, I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so old, like I can't function anymore, like fix me. But I think they all kind of know, like I've been on tour since I was 18, and this is my 11th year on tour, so it is very different. My body is different to when I was 18 years old, and I don't recover near as quick as I used to. So I do have an osteo who comes to every tournament, and he works with me in the gym, and to keep my body right. So that I've had since last year, last few years. So you evolve as a player, and as you evolve, your team evolves as well. So I think, we all grow together. And if that is the way I feel, I would hope my team is going to be there to help me, every step of the way. And I've had the same team since I was 13, 14 years old. So maybe 1 or 2 people have come on board that are a little bit newer, but I've had the same coach, same strength and conditioning physios all at home that have known me since I was a kid. So they know exactly what I'm feeling, and they know exactly what to say to.
God, that's good. It's a really good spot to find yourself in.
Mhm.
I've become quite friendly with the Aussie Osteos, and I think
Yeah.
it's truly incredible from really all of them, but really for me, Aaron, Zoot, and Jack, and the amount of care and dedication that they give truly to their clients. Because I've just been sitting around talking to them at tournaments, mucking it up, and they're like, "No,
Yeah.
no, I have to leave right now. My number one priority is still to get our players into the best position that they possibly can to compete week in,
Yeah.
week out."
Mhm.
And I think it's so cool, and I think it's awesome that they're able to travel the world and support themselves and do the best that they can,
Mhm.
really so early in life, but also on the flip side of it for players like you, that it
Yeah.
is, familiarity everywhere you go. And it's the same thing in people that know you and understand you. I also
Mhm.
think low key, the Aussies on tour are probably the coolest bunch to hang out and chat with. So
Oh,
that makes it a
yeah.
little bit better. And definitely
Yeah.
coffee and food recommendations, the number
Oh,
one spot
yeah.
to go to.
Yeah, coffee snob, like, ugh, Aaron, I work with Aaron, and yeah, he's very dedicated to his job, and he's like way more competitive than me, so I feel like that's a great thing about him that I love. So yeah, but it's just so easy to get along with them, and especially it's just a little bit of home, and I love that. That they're Australian and can hear another Aussie accent, like always with me. So
Right.
no, it's just really great that I can do this journey with them, with Aaron
Well, we
and
got
OCO.
Yeah, we got, a lot of season left this year, but really
Hmm.
we got, two more majors on the calendar. Evian, of course, where you have had lots of success at. You won in 2021. And then the Open Championship at a new course. I don't know. Have you ever been to Wales?
I've never. I've
Me
never been
either.
to Wales, but I saw it a little bit on TV when the seniors were there, and it was like blowing so much, and I was like, "Oh
Yes.
shit!"
Exactly. That's what
Yeah.
I was joking. I had a call with one of our partners a little bit ago, and we're like going over the Wales plan, and I'm like, I honestly, I'm like, I don't really know what to pack. So if you can send me like, the entire catalog of options. I'm sure it's gonna be very windy. It looks like
Yeah.
it's gonna rain quite a bit, and I'm sure,
Hmm.
I don't think it's just gonna be, beautiful sunny weather out there, but very excited for
Yeah.
Porthcawl. Is
Hmm.
that something, as you look at new venues and stuff, do you put a ton of time and research in trying to understand new places? Or do you just kinda take it as it comes?
Um, Not as much, I think, as I used to. I used to maybe just like look up the golf course, but I trust that my caddy walks the course and knows exactly where for me to hit it and to be in the best places. So um, I don't, not as much, but if it's like coming out on TV or like, I get to catch a glimpse of it, then yeah, I'll tune in for a little bit, but not not overly.
Is that comforting? Knowing that, obviously your caddy, you've been with him for a very long time, he's gonna be prepared no matter where you guys are at. But I think it makes it so you can just hit the shot that's in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, been with Mikey since the beginning of the year, but he's been on tour for a very long time, and he knows exactly what he's doing. And yeah, it's just comforting to know that he's working hard for me and for us to be the best that we can be. So I think it's just comfort level, really. You just rock up and do the best thing that you can do is hit the golf shot the way you can. So
Are
yeah.
you someone that is there pressure? Do you put pressure on yourself?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, I think all golfers do. Like, we're such perfectionists that if you don't,
It's a
then
maddening game to do it, though.
uh oh yeah, I know, but like I think you just do it subconsciously. You're just like, I got to do this so well. But then you like kind of catch yourself and you're like, you're not a robot.
Right.
You're just human. You can hit a bad shot now and again. But yeah, like I mean, we always are thriving to hit the best shots, right? So or 100% the way you want it, and not many times it does go like that. So yeah, I definitely think I put pressure on myself. I
Is
have
it something that,
expectations.
you talked about being on tour since you're 18 years old. Is it something that gets easier over time?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think it gets easier over time. I feel like when I was 18, 19, 20, I put way, way more pressure on myself to perform. And obviously, it's like a little bit harder because you're trying to, keep your card. You're just, trying to survive out there, play a whole bunch of tournaments. But now I can be selecting where I want to peak and, do my schedule so I'm not worn out too much or burnt out. So I do think it gets easier over time because you understand yourself a bit better and you just mature. Like it's just about maturity and just knowing that you're going to be okay even if you stuff up one shot.
Yeah.
Mm.
Is there's a lot of changes all the time in professional golf, but really on the LPGA tour, a big change coming up. You guys have a new commissioner. By the
Yep.
time this comes out, it'll come out right before Evian, but
Mhm.
Craig hasn't taken the seat yet. Is there
Mhm.
anything from, you've been doing this for a long time, over 10 years. You've traveled the world, you've played in multiple different tours, one on every tour. Is there anything that you look at and you go, "You know what? These would be easy changes that would make it more enjoyable, a little bit better for the players?"
I definitely think scheduling. I know the tournaments like their events on certain dates for a few of them, but I just feel like we do travel from, say, Las Vegas to New York, or, like it just kind of bounces everywhere. And it would be nice to have a bit more of a solid like West Coast swing or an East Coast swing. So we don't have to like travel by air to like as much. Obviously easier said than done, I think. But I think it would be, it's if like we could get it a little bit better, I think all the girls would love it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I
Mm,
completely agree. The schedule is a good place to start. What I
mm.
thought you were going to say is like, yeah, we should start in the Australian summer. That should kick off the year. And then we go from there. Get yourself
I
some more
mean,
time at home.
usually I skip the TOC and then I just start in Australia and Asia. But this year I played TOC and I actually really enjoyed the tournament, so can't really say anything about that now. Um, but yes, I mean it that is my ideal start to the season. But sometimes you can't control everything.
That's right. All right. So you're traveling all over the place. You're playing tons of competitive golf. Are you going out? Are you playing enjoyable golf at any point in time?
Yeah, now and again. I don't really play that much when I'm home because I like having some downtime. But definitely when I'm in Australia, um, I go out and play different courses because a lot more of the younger professionals that my coach coaches, like they're home, same time as me, and I really enjoy it. Play money games.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your
Yeah,
favorite course in the world?
favorite. I don't have a one favorite.
Multiple favorites.
I don't.
One place that if you say, "Hey, next week you can
Mm,
be anywhere you want," where does that put you?
Anywhere I
It sounds
want.
like it puts you in a tough spot. You don't wanna say where it's at.
Yeah. I mean, I really like Commonwealth Golf Club in Melbourne. I always like going there before and after the changes. I like playing in Korea. Korea's fun, not because of the golf. I mean, yes, because of the golf course as well as the hospitality, the food and all the stuff that you can do. But maybe somewhere in like Pebble Beach area.
Yeah,
I haven't I
beautiful.
haven't I haven't got to play like, Spyglass and Monterey. Is it Monterey?
Yeah, Monterey Peninsula Country
Monterey,
Club.
yeah. I haven't got to see those courses yet, so
You played Cyprus?
no, just
Oh,
Pebble.
just
When we
Pebble
played US
for
Open,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I need to do a trip eventually, but
that would
during the
be a
season,
great
it's too
trip.
hard. Yeah.
I know. It blows my mind the amount that you guys travel. It's
Yeah.
truly. I'm always like, wait a second, how are they doing laundry? How are they learning these courses? And then you talk to people and they're like, well, you do the same thing year over year, you just figure out what your routine is.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like no one really truly understands how much we travel or like how many commercial flights we're going on because it's like so
Yeah.
different
Yeah,
to
you're
the
not taking
boys.
private jets.
No, we are definitely are not doing that. But I mean, it's all part of it. It's kind of fun as well. Get to travel with
Which
the
is
girls and
which is why before we fired this up, we were talking about it. You said that you wanted to dabble sometime a little bit in
yeah.
content creation. I think people would be very fascinated to know, kind of not necessarily the ins and outs, but what life on tour is like from a player's
hmm
perspective. So
Yeah.
I encourage you to continue to explore that. But again, congratulations. It's incredible. Third major championship, Minjee, and really good luck the rest of the season. We'll be pulling for you. And we're going to figure out what Wales is like together, I guess.
Oh yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.